All right, guys, good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the morning note. It is Tuesday, February 14th, 2023. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there. I appreciate you taking the time out of your morning to join us. I don't expect too many people this morning as everyone is getting ready to celebrate Valentine's Day, whether send flowers to their wives, their spouses, to their mother, which is always a good one. Mom will always appreciate flowers, by the way. Either way, thanks for coming aboard this morning. We did have our CPI report this morning. We'll go over the numbers, we'll go over the chart, but let's go ahead and go over the futures. We'll go around the horn and talk about it. Dow futures all over the place this morning. This is why we did not add any risk yesterday. And I also talked about that on the newsletter, that it would be prudent to buy some downside protection. Obviously, we did not do that. We went ahead and came into a consensus as a team that it really wasn't worth adding risk here. It's better off just to wait and see what the move is. And right now it's in pretty chop. After a nice day yesterday, market is holding up. Granted, the market is not open yet. This is all pre-market. But interesting to see that even a hotter than expected CPI number, still not enough for the bears to sell this off. So we're going to go ahead and go over that here in a second. Again, so Dow futures up 36, NASDAQ flat, down about 9. S&P 500 futures are green, but slightly, 41.49. Russell 2000 futures are down, 19.43, down about 0.20%. Crude oil is down 1.39%, $79 a barrel. $2.49 for gasoline futures, down 1.42%. Gold is up on the dollar being down this morning, 18.75 an ounce for gold futures, up 0.64%. Silver futures up 0.13% at 21.88. 10-year treasury yields are down. We're down a little lower this morning, 3.7% currently. Dollar index 102.94, below 103 now, 0.39%. We know the target, we're looking for 102.44. We're not there yet. The volatility index has slid in about 4.77%, 1937, not a lot of volatility, even with the CPI number. So again, put premiums were elevated on Monday morning, and then as the market went higher, they went a little cheaper. But it seemed that the market was kind of already pricing in a hotter than expected, if not an expected number for CPI, hence where we are currently. Euro dollar is up 34 pips, 107.58. Again, we talked about how important the euro is in comparison to the S&P and that correlation. Dollar index is down about 20 pips this morning, 132.22. Again, you want the yen being stronger or dollar yen going down if you want rates to go down when we talked about that kind of correlation. Pound dollar up 71 pips, 122.10. Interesting enough, just a couple of days ago, the British FTSE, the British stock market, or their Dow equivalent, that was at all-time highs just rather recently. And German DAX, which is the equivalent to the German Dow Jones, let's just call it, that was up at all-time highs last week. Ethereum and Bitcoin pretty much, well, Bitcoin is flat, 21,720. We talked about that weekly death cross. 1512 on Ethereum, that's up this morning, 1.44%, at least on the future side. Let's go ahead and go over the CPI number. Let's go and break it down together. Let's see if I can bring this up here. Here we go. This was on Twitter. CPI month over month, 0.5%. That met estimates. CPI excluding food and energy, this is the core, 0.4%. That met estimates. CPI year over year, 6.4%. The estimate was 6.2%. So again, higher than expected. But again, the month over month number met expectation. I think that's kind of what the market is hanging their hat on, is that there was no real surprises there. CPI excluding food and energy, again, core, this is a year over year, 5.6%. So again, we had an expectation meant month over month, which did not bring down the year over year number. So again, at least month over month, we can see that we are hitting expectations. It's not exactly anything in terms of anything out of proportion. And I think that's what the market is kind of pricing in here. In terms of what the CPI number means, this is a question from Thomas. Is the report misleading? Remember, I think a lot of people were talking about the revisions. Guys, revisions happen in pretty much every single data point that is released because those are flash data points. These are the initial readings. Granted, the market does kind of hold its breath for all of these initial readings. But again, revisions are nothing new. We have that for non-farm payroll. We have that for retail sales. We have that for CPI. We have that for GDP. If you notice, when we have GDP numbers, they have initial readings, then you have your final readings. So again, we don't have final readings with CPI since they're rolling every month. But again, guys, these are all initial readings, initial survey readings. So I wouldn't say to the point that, oh, are they misleading, or they're lying. A lot of it is just seasonal variations in terms of updating the number. I don't know if there's a kind of I guess back office, or kind of in the dark, kind of number fudging politically in order to get what they want. I think I'm just going to go by the numbers before I go through the rabbit hole of conspiracy theory. But again, we do know that revisions are nothing new. So again, don't be surprised if this gets revised higher or lower. We had a higher revision in December, and even with that, the market still is kind of flat right now. So all this market action is telling you is that no one is very sure yet. We'll see when we get a little more volume when we open. But again, right now, all this tells me is that this is a destruction of call premium and put premium, especially out of the money premiums. This is why we did not trade yesterday, and I'm very, very content that we didn't. Now we could start looking and seeing what are levels that we're looking for moving forward. Let's see this question here. Bruno is asking, what are your thoughts on Palantir earnings? Do you think reverse trend finally? Yes, Palantir, a name that I've owned for a while. Let's go over it. Palantir had a very big headline that came out. Well, not big headline, but something that stood out to me as a Palantir investor. And I'll read the actual quote here. Let's see here. I think my thing just froze. Okay, this just came in really quickly. This is from Goldman Sachs CEO. Better chances of a soft landing. Bank of America CEO. Companies are fine. Spending is strong. Wells Fargo, no landing scenario. Now, Harker of Philly Fed. Odds of improving of a soft landing. And Starbucks and Chipotle say no recession and higher income shoppers are spending more. So there you go. That is very interesting. That I think we're starting to see that the worst is over. I think that a lot of individuals, even CEOs, are starting to say, hey, maybe a recession is not in the cards. Maybe things are getting better. Finally, the level we're looking for in terms of Palantir, we're looking for this level. We're looking for $9.40. That's what we're looking for. That's my alert. We're at 872. Maybe we get a boost. But again, the big headline that was repeated by the Palantir CEO, if I can find that, I have to search for it. Here we go. Palantir expects 2023 to be its first profitable year. Sees AI driving growth. We know what AI is doing because Microsoft has been booming because of it. One of the top 10 stocks of 2023. And you can see now it's kind of a pulling back. But again, yesterday, what a nice move from around 266 to almost 275 yesterday. So Microsoft leading the way in terms of the Dow. But again, in terms of Palantir, we know what they have AI and everything like that. I love Palantir long term. But I need to break 940 to see that we're finally bucking that trend to the upside. Good morning, Carlos. Do you think Goldman Sachs is still undervalued? Let's go ahead and take a look. At least with Goldman Sachs, I think the level we're looking for now is to get above right around 388. And again, Goldman Sachs is not going to go away anytime soon. This is one of the largest investment banks in the United States. In terms of edge on the daily chart, again, above 388 is really the target you're looking for to go long, and then I would target the 400 calls. In terms of buying more, let's go and take a look at some of their numbers here. I can see their PE ratio and multiples should be pretty low. 1244 on a PE ratio, that's a little elevated, higher than most investment banks. I do like Morgan Stanley as well. Let me go ahead and get to the maps here and get the forward PE ratio on Goldman Sachs. And in terms of Goldman Sachs, it is trading right now at a forward PE rate multiple of 926. Again, that is cheaper than Bank of America. That is cheaper than JP Morgan Chase. That is cheaper than Morgan Stanley. So in that kind of view, yes, it's still undervalued forward. It's against its peers. So again, I do like Goldman Sachs, but it needs to break above 388.75 to break it, to go ahead and play calls. Let's go and take a look at SPY together and see what something we could do with this. Again, we don't know if we're going to go higher or lower. Obviously, futures are red. We're trading at around 411.93. 414 was a level I was looking at very, very closely. So again, if we break 415, I want to go and take a look at possibly the 418 or 420 calls. If we break below 410, I'll be watching for at least 408, if not this trend line here of 407.26 for puts. Maybe, but again, I want to see the flow. Let's take a look at QQQ, kind of holding out pat. You can see that trend line there. More than likely, if we break above here of around 308.83, I'd be taking a look at possibly the 314, 315 calls for this week, looking for Friday. Remember, this is not the only data point we have for the rest of the week. We also have retail sales tomorrow. We also have PPI on Thursday. But again, like I said on the actual newsletter that we sent out, the risk is more to the upside. Everyone is expecting that shoe to drop. So again, even with elevated CPI year over year, but month over month came in as expected. Not exactly a bloodbath. Again, especially after a big day yesterday, the stock market yesterday, if we could take a look at it. Remember, we're still looking for that level of around 41.95 on S&P 500 spot. That gets you to 20% above the lows and a new bull market. So again, that's around right around 42.23 S&P 500 futures. If we get there, then we are in a new bull market. We are not there yet. We're probably around 80, 85 points away. Just a reminder, yesterday, the Dow was up 378 points. Dow futures now are up down 43. S&P was up 1.1%, up 46 handles. And the NASDAQ was up 1.6%. So again, getting a little pullback isn't exactly the worst thing in the world. The worst thing in the world would have been that if you had real deep out of the money calls or real deep out of the money puts, because as of right now, you're pretty much going to get chopped up. So again, we have our levels. We'll be watching rather closely. I'm watching Boeing as well with the team. We have not broken the level that we're looking for yet. But again, Boeing is on my watch list. I'm looking for a level break of around 298.78, if not 220, for more upside, more of an upside move. If that's the case, then we're looking around 225 to around 230 calls, if that's the case on Boeing. But other than that, again, a pretty choppy session this morning. We're bouncing off the 200 MA on the 1 hour chart. So you see the dollar kind of boosting back a little bit here. It could be just a hurry up and wait event. Let's see if we get any movement. Let's see if we can find any opportunities out there. And if we don't, we're going to be patient like we were yesterday, since there's so many landmines coming this week. So I know this is not something that everyone ordered in terms of CPI. Everyone was expecting some kind of volatility, either a sword job or a tank job. Nothing doing so far. So we'll keep you guys updated as always on Twitter, and of course on our market blog on Discord. And we'll go ahead and leave it there, guys. Thank you guys for the questions. Brano, Javier, and Thomas. Appreciate you all. Hope everyone have a great Valentine's Day. I want to give a special shout out to my amazing supporting wife. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for being a part of my life and making this, supporting the business, of course, as always, and understanding that this is not easy. Watching me work late nights and early mornings, and you always have a great attitude. I love you, honey. Thank you for all you do. And of course, make sure to appreciate all the amazing women in your life. Have a happy Valentine's Day. We will see you guys tomorrow. Cheers.